When my family organized the Easter lunch, everyone was invited. Everyone except me. That same day, I saw the Instagram photos of them all gathered together, laughing and celebrating. I just smiled. The following Monday, I canceled the $558,000 financing I had given my brother to buy the house where they were celebrating. I'm happy you're here. Follow my story to the end and comment the city where you're watching from so I can see how far my story has reached. My name is Rebecca Thompson, and I'm about to tell you how a single Instagram post changed everything. I thought I knew about family loyalty. It was a Tuesday evening in March, and I was sitting in my corner office on the 23rd floor of my Boston real estate firm, watching the city lights flicker to life below. At 45, I'd built this empire from nothing. Every brick, every deal, every sleepless night had been worth it, especially after my divorce 10 years ago left me starting over with my teenage daughter Emma. I picked up my phone to check messages when Instagram lit up with a notification. My cousin Sarah had posted something new. I almost scrolled past it. Another family gathering I probably couldn't attend due to work, but something made me stop. The photo showed my entire extended family gathered around my parents' dining table, laughing and raising glasses in what looked like a toast. The caption read, "Planning the most amazing Easter lunch. Can't wait for our family tradition to continue. Love these people so much. #family first, #Easter planning." I stared at the screen, my coffee growing cold in my hand. There was my brother Michael, his wife Jennifer, their 3 kids, my sister Patricia with her husband and twins, my parents beaming at the head of the table. Even my cousin David, who lived in California, was there. He must have flown in specifically for this planning meeting. Everyone was there, everyone except me. I scrolled through the comments, my heart sinking with each "can't wait," and "this will be the best Easter ever." 23 family members had liked the post. Not one had thought to mention my absence. I called my mother immediately. The phone rang 4 times before she answered, her voice unusually stiff. "Oh, Rebecca. Hi, honey." "Mom, I just saw Sarah's post about Easter lunch. I didn't know we were having a family gathering. What time should I bring Emma?" The silence stretched so long I thought the call had dropped. "Rebecca, we decided it might be better if you didn't come this year." The words hit me like a physical blow. "What do you mean, better if I didn't come? You know how you get at family gatherings, sweetheart. Everything always becomes about your business, your success, your money. We just wanted one peaceful meal where we could focus on being together without complications." I stood up so fast, my chair rolled backward and hit the window. "Complications? Mom, what are you talking about? Last Christmas, you spent the entire dinner talking about your latest property acquisition, and at Patricia's birthday, you kept mentioning how much you'd spent on her gift. It makes everyone uncomfortable. Rebecca, we love you, but sometimes it feels like you're showing off." My hands were shaking now. Showing off. I was sharing my life with my family, and that gift for Patricia. She specifically asked me to help with her daughter's college fund. "I know, honey, but what? I'm too successful for family dinner now." "That's not what I'm saying. We just think it would be better for everyone if you sat this one out. Maybe next year things will be different." I hung up without saying goodbye. I sat back down, staring at that Instagram post again. My family, the people I'd sacrificed for, supported, and loved unconditionally, had planned an entire Easter celebration without me. They'd met, discussed it, and unanimously decided I wasn't welcome. The irony was so sharp it took my breath away. They were excluding me for having money, the same money that had been quietly supporting half of them for years. I opened my laptop and pulled up my financial records. The numbers told a story my family seemed to have conveniently forgotten. Over the past 5 years, I'd given my sister Patricia $45,000 for her daughter's paid for my parents' roof repair $12,000. I'd covered my cousin David's wedding expenses when his business failed, $18,000. And then there was Michael. 3 years ago, my baby brother had come to me with tears in his eyes. He and Jennifer had found their dream house in Newton, a beautiful colonial with a big backyard for the kids, but they couldn't qualify for the mortgage. His credit was shot from some bad business decisions, and Jennifer's teacher salary wasn't enough. "Rebecca, I know it's a lot to ask," he'd said, sitting in my living room while his kids played with Emma upstairs. "But could you help us? We'll pay you back, I promise. Every penny, with interest." I'd looked at his hopeful face and made a decision that now felt like the biggest mistake of my life. I'd loaned him $558,000, the full purchase price of the house. No interest. Flexible payment terms. Family is family, I'd told him. In 3 years, he'd made exactly 7 payments. Total amount received, $23,000. I'd never pressured him, never mentioned it at family gatherings, never made him feel small about it. When he'd come to me 6 months ago saying business was slow and he needed to skip a few payments, I'd just nodded and said, "Don't worry about it, pay when you can." And this was how they repaid my generosity. By deciding I was too focused on money to deserve a seat at their table, I closed my laptop and looked out at the Boston skyline. Tomorrow, I had a decision to make. But tonight, I was going to sit with the devastating realization that the family I'd spent my adult life supporting had just shown me exactly how much my love and sacrifice meant to them. The answer was apparently nothing at all. I didn't sleep that night. I kept replaying my mother's words. "You always make everything about your money." The accusation felt like a knife twisting in my chest, especially because it was so fundamentally wrong. The next morning, I sat in my home office with a cup of coffee that had gone cold hours ago, surrounded by financial documents I'd pulled from my files. I needed to see the full picture, to understand just how deep my family's hypocrisy ran. The numbers were staggering. Patricia's medical bills for her daughter's surgery, $45,000. I'd written that check without hesitation when she called me, crying at 2 a.m., terrified about how they'd afford the procedure. My parents' emergency roof repair after the nor'easter 2 years ago, $12,000. Dad had called me embarrassed, saying their insurance wouldn't cover it all. "Don't even think about paying me back," I'd told him. "It's what family does." Cousin David's wedding when his catering business collapsed, $18,000. I'd flown to California and handed him a cashier's check the day before his wedding, saving him from the humiliation of canceling my nephew Jake's car when he graduated high school, $15,000. "Every kid needs reliable transportation for college," I'd said, watching Michael beam with pride as Jake got his keys. The list went on and on: birthday gifts, Christmas bonuses, emergency loans that were never repaid, vacation funds, graduation presents. In 5 years, I'd given my family over $200,000 in direct gifts and loans, and that didn't even include Michael's house. I pulled up the loan agreement my lawyer had drafted 3 years ago, $558,000, 0% interest, with payments of $3,100 per month over 15 years. It was the most generous loan terms anyone could ask for, essentially a gift disguised as a business transaction to preserve Michael's dignity. My phone buzzed with a text from Emma, who was spending her spring break at her father's house in New York. "Hey Mom, Dad showed me Aunt Patricia's Instagram. The Easter decorations look amazing. Are you excited for the family lunch?" I stared at the message, my heart breaking all over again. Even my own daughter didn't know I'd been excluded. How could I explain to her that her beloved aunts and uncles had decided her mother wasn't worthy of their company? I called my assistant, Margaret, and told her to clear my schedule for the day. Then I drove to Newton, to the house I'd bought for my brother. The Colonial sat on a tree-lined street, its white picket fence freshly painted, the garden meticulously maintained. A new BMW sat in the driveway next to Jennifer's Honda. Apparently business had improved enough for luxury car payments, just not enough for house payments. I sat in my car across the street, watching Michael's youngest daughter, Sophie, play on the swing set in the backyard. The same swing set I'd bought her for her 6th birthday. She was laughing, her blonde hair catching the morning sunlight, completely unaware that her home existed because of her aunt's generosity. My phone rang. It was Patricia. "Rebecca, I heard Mom talk to you yesterday. I just wanted you to know that this wasn't personal." "How is excluding me from Easter not personal?" "Patricia, you know what I mean. We all love you, but lately, every family gathering feels like a business meeting. You talk about your deals, your properties, your success. It makes the rest of us feel small." I gripped the steering wheel tighter. "Patricia, do you remember when Lily needed surgery 2 years ago?" "Of course, but what does that? Do you remember calling me at 2 a.m., sobbing because you couldn't afford the procedure? Do you remember me driving to the hospital at 6 a.m. with a check for $45,000? Silence. Did I make that about my money, Patricia? Did I lecture you about financial responsibility? Did I make you feel small? And Jake's car? Were those emergencies too? Or were they just me showing off my wealth? You're twisting this around. We're grateful for your help, but you're not grateful enough to include me in family celebrations. It's not about gratitude. It's about how you make us feel when we're all together. Like we're your charity cases. The words hit me like a slap. Charity cases. Patricia, I've never once made any of you feel like charity cases. I've gone out of my way to be discreet, to preserve everyone's dignity. When I helped you, I told everyone it was a loan that you'd already paid back. When I bought Jake's car, I let Michael take all the credit. But we know the truth, Rebecca. We all know who really pays for things, and it's uncomfortable. So the solution is to exclude me. We just wanted one meal where we could all be equals, where nobody felt indebted to anyone else. I looked back at the house, Michael's house, bought with my money, and laughed bitterly. Equal Michael's house. I loaned him the entire purchase price 3 years ago. He's made 7 payments total. He owes me $535,000. And he's planning Easter dinner in a house I own while celebrating my exclusion from the family. The silence stretched so long, I thought she'd hung up. Patricia, I didn't know about Michael's house. Of course you didn't, because I don't make everything about my money. I don't announce my generosity or keep score. I just quietly support the people I love and ask for nothing in return except to be treated like family. Rebecca, if we'd known you'd include me out of guilt. No, thank you. You've all made your feelings perfectly clear. I hung up and sat in my car, watching my niece play in the yard of the house I'd bought, feeling more alone than I had since my divorce. That evening, pay, then he'll lose the house. Which is exactly what should have happened 3 years ago if I hadn't been so foolishly generous. What's brought this on? I looked at the Easter invitation I'd never received, still glowing on my phone screen. I've just learned the true cost of family loyalty, Richard, and it's far more expensive than $558,000. Monday morning after Easter arrived gray and cold, matching my mood perfectly. I'd spent the weekend alone in my Beacon Hill townhouse, deliberately avoiding social media and the inevitable photos of my family's perfect Easter celebration. At 9 a.m. sharp, I walked in, done with being taken advantage of. Rebecca, I have to ask one more time, are you absolutely certain about this? Once we serve Michael with this demand, there's no going back. I slid the loan documents across his mahogany desk. Richard, I've never been more certain of anything in my life. I want a formal demand for immediate payment of the full $535,000 balance, plus late fees calculated from the missed payments. That brings the total to $547,000. If he can't pay, he'll lose the house. I understand the consequences perfectly. Richard studied my face. What happened, Rebecca? 3 years ago, you were adamant about keeping this arrangement informal and family-friendly. I pulled out my phone and showed him the Instagram post that had started planning a meal they could afford because I've been subsidizing their lives for years. He whistled low. That's incredibly hypocritical. It gets worse. My sister Patricia called me yesterday to explain that they just wanted one meal where they could all be equals. Equals, Richard. While her brother lives in a house I own. Richard began drafting the demand letter. How do you want to handle this? Certified mail. Personal service. Personal service. I want to be there when he receives it. Rebecca, I don't think that's wise. These situations can get emotional. Good. It's front path. Through the window, I could see Michael in his kitchen, probably having a late breakfast after sleeping in from his Easter celebration. The doorbell rang. Michael appeared at the door in his Red Sox pajamas, looking confused. The process server handed him the envelope and walked away. I watched my brother's face as he tore it open and read the contents. The color drained from his face. He looked around frantically, then his eyes found my car across the street. For a moment, we just stared at each other. Then, he was running toward me in his pajamas and slippers. Rebecca, what the hell is this? He was banging on my passenger window, the legal papers crumpled in his fist. I rolled down the window. It's a demand for payment, Michael. You borrowed $558,000. You paid back $23,000. The balance is due immediately. You can't be serious. This is my home. My kids live here. It's my home, Michael. I bought it. You've been living. I got out of the car and faced him on the sidewalk. That was before my family decided I wasn't good enough for Easter dinner. What are you talking about? Don't play dumb. You were all there. planning the perfect family Easter while deliberately excluding me. Mom told me I make everything about money, so I thought I'd show you what it actually looks like when I make everything about money. Michael's face went white. Rebecca, I didn't know they weren't inviting you. I swear, if I'd known you would have what? Spoken up for me, defended me. Or would you have just enjoyed your Easter dinner in the house I bought while celebrating my absence? That's not fair. Fair. I laughed, but there was no humor in it. Michael, you owe me over $500,000. You've missed 29 payments. You bought a BMW while owing me $535,000, and you think I'm being unfair. Jennifer appeared at the front door, wrapping a robe around herself. Michael, what's going on? Why are you outside in your pajamas? Rebecca's calling in the loan. He called back to her. She wants the full amount immediately. Jennifer's face went pale. She walked down the path toward us, her hands shaking. Rebecca, please, we can't pay that much money. You know we can't, then you'll lose the house. But the kids, their schools, their friends, this is their home. No, Jennifer, this is my house. It's always been my house. I've just been letting you live in it. Oh, I've been behind on payments, but business has been tough. The economy, COVID, everything. I pulled my arm free. Michael, stop. Just stop. I've heard every excuse for 3 years. But you know what really hurts? It's not the money. It's that you all sat around a table last week and decided I wasn't worthy of your company while living off my generosity. We didn't know about the house loan. Because I was protecting your dignity. I could have told everyone that you couldn't afford your own home, but I didn't. I let you pretend you were successful while I quietly supported you. And this is how you repay me. Jennifer started crying. Rebecca, please, we'll do anything. We'll sell the BMW. We'll get second jobs. Will you have 30 days to pay the full amount or vacate the property? That's what the law requires, and that's what you'll get. I started walking back to my car, but Michael followed me. Rebecca, you're destroying my family over a dinner invitation. I turned around, and for the first time, instead of family, but we can fix this. We can have another Easter dinner. We can. It's too late for that. You've shown me who you really are. All of you have. And I've finally decided to believe you. I got in my car and drove away, leaving Michael standing in the street, in his pajamas, holding the papers that would change everything. That evening, my phone exploded with calls and texts. Patricia, my parents, even cousin David from California. Word had spread fast, but I didn't answer any of them. Instead, I poured myself a glass of wine and sat in my study, looking out at Boston Harbor. For the first time in years, I felt something I hadn't expected, relief. I was finally done being the family ATM, done being generous to people who saw my kindness as weakness, done sacrificing my dignity for people who didn't value my presence. The real consequences would begin. 3 weeks later, I sat in my office watching the Boston real estate market reports when Margaret buzzed me. Rebecca, your brother Michael is here. He says it's urgent. I'd been expecting this visit. The 30-day notice was almost up, and according to my sources, Michael had been frantically trying to secure financing from every bank in Massachusetts. All had turned him down. Send him in. Michael walked into my office looking like he'd aged 5 years in 3 weeks. His usually perfect hair was disheveled, his clothes wrinkled, and there were dark circles under his eyes. Rebecca, please, we need to talk. I gestured to the chair across from my desk. You have 15 minutes. I've tried everything. Every bank, every lender, even private investors. Nobody will give me a loan for $535,000 without collateral, and the house is the only collateral I have, which you can't use as collateral because you don't own it. I do. Rebecca, please, I'm begging you. He looked confused. What? I had Easter dinner. Just Emma and me. We cooked together, we talked, we laughed, and you know what? It was the most peaceful Easter I've had in years. No drama, no walking on eggshells. Rebecca, about Easter, I'm not finished. After dinner, Emma asked me why I seemed so much happier lately, and I realized something. I've been carrying the weight of this family's financial problems for so long that I forgot what it felt like to just be myself. Michael's eyes filled with tears. I never meant for you to feel that way, but you did feel comfortable excluding me from family celebrations while living in my house. You did feel comfortable making token payments while buying luxury cars. You did feel comfortable letting me subsidize your life while treating me like I was the problem. We were wrong. We were all wrong. Mom knows that now. Patricia knows it. Everyone knows it. I pulled out a folder from my desk drawer. This is a purchase agreement. They're paying 580,000, which is 22,000 more than you owe me. Michael's face went white. You're selling my house. I'm selling my house, Michael. The house I own because you couldn't afford it. But where will we live? The kids' schools. That's not my problem anymore. You have 1 week to vacate. Michael broke down completely. Rebecca, please. Asked for this loan 3 years ago. He wiped his eyes. I said I'd pay you back every penny. No. You said, family is family. You used my love for you as collateral for $500,000, and then you and that same family decided I wasn't worthy of your company. I stood up and walked to the window. I've learned something important these past few weeks. Respect isn't something you can buy, even with $558,000. Either people value you for who you are, or they don't, and my family has made it very clear that they don't. That's not true. We love you. I turned back to him. No, Michael. You love my money. You love my generosity. You love having a safety net, but you don't love me enough to include me in your celebrations or treat me with basic respect. We can change. We can do better. It's too late for that. The damage is done. Michael stood up, desperation in his voice. What about Emma?
She loves
Her cousins. You're destroying her relationship with the family too. Emma will be fine. She's learning an important lesson about self-respect and boundaries. Something I should have learned years ago. I walked to my office door and opened it. Your 15 minutes are up, Michael. He stopped at the doorway. Rebecca, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I know you are, but you're not sorry you hurt me. You're sorry there are consequences. After he left, I sat back down and looked at the purchase agreement. The Hendersons were thrilled to get the house. They'd seen the love and care that had gone into maintaining it, never knowing it was bought with betrayal and maintained with broken promises. My phone buzzed with a text from Emma. Mom, I'm proud of you. Dad told me what happened with Uncle Michael. You deserve better than people who only want you around when they need something. I smiled, feeling lighter than I had in years. My daughter understood what my family never could. The sold sign was already up, and I could see the Henderson children playing in the backyard, the same yard where my nieces and nephews had played, never knowing their home existed because of their aunt's sacrifice. As I drove away, I had one. The real family, the people who truly loved and respected me, were still there. Emma, my close friends, my business partners who valued my judgment and character, not just my bank account. Sometimes the most expensive lesson you can learn is that your generosity is worthless if it's not matched with respect. And sometimes the best investment you can make is in your own self-worth. I'd paid $558,000 to learn that lesson, but for the first time in years, I felt like I'd gotten my money's worth.